Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space to discuss growing in adulthood, mental health, faith, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the episode of the Honesty Circle. It's your girl, Sierra Elise. How are y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great Resurrection Sunday and you're reminded of not just Jesus's love for you, but for God's love for you. So yeah, this week we are doing an Ask Me Anything episode. And before we jump into the questions, we actually got a lot. And so hopefully I can get through as many as possible. But I definitely wanted to introduce to you this new segment that we're going to start having called Let's Get Honest. And so this is a submission that is 100% anonymous, where people are able to share their stories and get honest, advice, feedback on whatever situation or question that you might have. This is so it's not going to be on every episode, but this is so you can kind of ask your questions and not wait until an Ask Me Anything episode, but you're able to kind of get those questions or kind of need that much needed advice throughout, different episodes, things like that. So you'll be able to find that on the Instagram for the Honesty Circle. It will be in our bio in the link. And so whenever you need it, just definitely go there. Like I said, it's 100% anonymous. It is a Google form. Okay. So, all right, let's jump into these questions. So I kind of broke down the questions into a few categories. So one is learn more about me. One is like more personal questions, which is not like the fun. Learn about me is like more fun, like facts about me. The personal ones is more like situational. The advice is someone kind of having a question where they're kind of wanting some advice. And then lastly, the Honesty Circle section. So I think we're going to start with the advice first. I know that I can be long-winded. So I'm going to go through advice, then go to personal, then go to Honesty Circle, then go to about me. Okay. Hopefully I remember that order. I said, yeah. So we're going to do that. That's the order that we're going to do. We start with advice. So the first question I got is, what do you do when you have to make a difficult decision in your life? Pray. Listen, prayer is always going to be my first thing. I'm going to be like, God, I don't know what you want me to do. And it's crazy because I'm actually kind of in that situation now where it's like I'm asking God for answers and he's actually being silent, which is like, okay, like I thought you were going to give me something. But sometimes God is silent. And so I think in those times for difficult decisions, in the silence of God, I also know to lay it at his feet, but I also know too that there will be some form of direction and instructions in due time. And I know that's like hopefully not probably what you're looking for, but definitely pray. I utilize my community. And so I know that my community are people who also believe in God and different things along those lines. And so typically they give me advice that's in alignment to what I think God might be saying, or they might show me a scripture in which might give me some clarity about something. So definitely utilize your village because they likely have some insight on your life because they're on the outside and they're not just seeing it through your eyes, to give you kind of some perspective or something like that. And not that they're going to tell you exactly what to do, but just gathering information to be able to make a sound decision. It's kind of how I roll. Okay. The next one is, how do you manage moments when you get extremely mentally fatigued? Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. I do get very mentally fatigued, and I genuinely choose to restore that fatigue most times by rotting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing. So there are days when I, have worked a lot and I've been busy running around and I'm just like exhausted. Like my mind can't even think right. Those are most times the times where I just need to lay on the couch, have a movie day. And if that looks like I don't leave the house all day, that's what it looks like. And I'm the type of person where I do like to go, but I also know that that's not sustainable for every single day of my life, and that there are times that I need to rest and recover. And so make sure you're implementing that. And I also think too, to help be proactive in mental fatigue, I've been trying to schedule how I'm working or time that I'm going to be relaxing. So for an example, when I look at my calendar, off like this coming up week, I have something after work almost every night besides Friday. So I know Friday after work, I'm probably going to not put anything on my schedule, no matter if someone wants to hang out with me or anything along those lines, unless it's like very low, like minimal exertion of energy. But I know that because I was on go all week, that Friday night or even that Saturday, I likely will schedule in time that I'm doing nothing. So just kind of make sure you incorporate that a little bit more, but definitely just like rest and relax where you can. I think that's just how I personally recharge. And also just sometimes you have to just do what recharges you. So if it's not rest and relaxation, sometimes it's maybe a walk, maybe it's prayer, meditation, yoga, anything in the gym. There's so many things that could help you. I don't want to limit it, but something that's going to like, maybe if it does require for you to exert energy, but maybe it's also restoring you in the same facet, if that makes sense. So that's my advice. Next one is, how do you prioritize your time and managing your schedule effectively? There's another question up here that also says, what's your best tips for time management? So this is actually crazy. So I think I've gotten out of my best time management skills. I think I was my best in college. So when I was in college, specifically my senior year, I was a manager for the women's basketball team. So that's like practice and games. I also had a part-time job at Vans. I also was a student, and also it's my senior year. So I want to live it up and, be with my friends. It was slightly COVID, but I definitely was incorporating like friend time in that kind of how I was managing my time. And one thing I utilize heavily is a planner / the calendar on my phone. So I think having 2 forms helps me. So I definitely color coordinate. So like right now, my everything for work is purple. Everything that's personal is pink. I have a blue. I have like a darker blue. So like I have like different colors that represent different things in my life, different areas. And so first I color coordinate, put it all out there. Please write everything down, because there'll be times in which you probably forget what's on your schedule or what you have to do. And so first, I think when I see what I have on my schedule, what I have on my plate, I'm then able to see the blocks and where I can fill things in, where I can incorporate different things. I'll use the example of this week coming up again. So like I said, I have something every single day after work this week. So when I'm going to record my next episode. Right. So I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be busy pretty much every night. So that's either I need to sacrifice one night where I have to stay up later to record, or I'm going to utilize that Friday night, or I'll have to do it on Saturday, which I typically don't like to do, but sometimes I do, and record. So it's looking at what you have on your plate and seeing the other things that you need to then add in and find the holes in the schedule. Like same with homework time in college. Like you have a break in your class for 2 hours, right? Maybe that time, instead of relaxing and doing nothing, maybe that's time that you need to be going to study or going to do your homework, so you're not up late at night. So just kind of finding those holes in the time, so that way you're able to add anything in and find what organizational skills works best for you. One thing an additional tip that I use the Pomodoro method. Not just for studying though, I use it at work. And so because I know I get pretty, like I'll hyper focus, or I'll get like tired. I will focus for forever and I get tired and I'm burnt out. So taking those breaks throughout, like every 30 minutes or something like that helps me, just to manage my time better. Cause I realize like, I try to like race the clock of like, okay, I have 30 minutes to get XYZ or these things done. So that's kind of a way that I like also structure my time throughout the day. The next question is, how scary was it to get started? And do you ever feel that you have imposter syndrome? Well, we talked about this. So there is an episode for imposter syndrome. So I definitely suggest you going to listen to that one. I 100% have experienced imposter syndrome. Like I have experienced it. I think it's something that's not ever 100% gonna go away, because it probably will pop up in different times in your life. But at the end of the day, I think you need to know what tools are helpful. And so it starts with that confidence from within, knowing that you are capable, knowing that you can do it. And was I scared starting the Honesty Circle? Abso-freaking-lutely. Like when I was in 2020, when I was in my room thinking that I wanted to do a podcast, I'm like, I was genuinely worried about like, what if I fail? You know, what if people don't like it? All these things. And that's also the fear that was holding me back from getting started again after I stopped. So I think a part of that kind of connects to last week's episode as well, where we talked about conquering belief. So it's a mix of like your belief in yourself and your confidence in yourself, to know that you can get started and that you are capable. And it's also okay that you fail, right? Like my first episode of the Honest Circle, when you listen back to it, 1, we didn't have video. 2, I was so like shy and nervous. Hi, this is Sierra on the Honesty Circle. I was so shy and nervous. I was not talking like a normal like Sierra. And it took me, you know, practicing getting in front of the mic more often, getting in front of the camera more often, and being fully comfortable with me in this space of being on camera. And I think being able to practice that in every single episode, I'm getting more and more comfortable with how I'm like communicating my thoughts, communicating everything to the audience that is listening or watching. So that's my advice there. The next one is like, what are my thoughts on college? So you're speaking from someone who comes from a long line of educators. So not only was my dad's a pastor, but he also has multiple degrees. My mom has getting her PhD. My older sister's getting her PhD. So my grandmother and my grandfather on my dad's side were in education. I'm pretty sure people on my mother's side were in education. So I know education is important, and I think in the Black community, it's often been a tool that has been a launching pad for us, because we were like, you know, back in the day, and when African Americans were enslaved, they were unable to like read and write and do whatever. And so once they were able to do that and go to school and be able to go to college, all these things, it was their launching pad. I think now it's a little different. I think now sometimes people say it's not for everyone, and I do agree with that. But I also think that to be successful in life, you have to be a lifelong learner. And does that always mean college? No. But I think it's a nice tool to have under your belt, to have that bachelor's degree, because I know that it's a safety net that you can always fall back on regardless. I know, like I said, now people are needing masters and like higher degrees to get certain jobs that before were just, you know, only needed a bachelor's degree. So I think it's different there, but I generally think it's also part of what you want to do. Like if what you want to do requires you to go to college, go in college and stay in college. But also I think a big part of college is not just the education side, but how you're growing as a person. So like I grew my time management skills, you're building community, you are learning how to, you know, exist in an environment with maybe people you don't always 100% like. You know, being able to grow your writing skills, being able to, those small skills that you might not kind of work on consciously if it wasn't for college. I think that's also something that college is good for. But like I said, I know it's not for everyone, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it. The next one is, I need a hobby, help. Okay, so you're speaking to someone who is trying to start a hobby now. I'm trying to start playing tennis. That is my hobby of this summer. I want to be so cute with my little tennis skirt while I just, you know, hit a racket or whatever, you know. I think it's going to be so cute. But that's beside the point. I think a thing about a hobby is, one, trying new things, because you don't know what you like if you never tried it. So like I would never really play tennis before. Like I played as a kid with my family, but like I didn't play for real. Or if you have a hobby of like drawing, like most hobbies take time to grow and develop. You just don't kind of come overnight. So be open to try new things. Like there's so many things that you could have as a hobby, like knitting and crochet and drawing, and like one of my friends is a DJ, and one of my other friends is an artist, and like there's so many small things that you can kind of pick up. Running, there's so many things you can pick up as hobbies, and I think it's just a matter of finding something you want to do and sticking to it. I think that consistency is what drives your helps drive how good you are at it, and how successful I guess you are in it as well. So definitely, keep that. Yeah, just try something new. That's my advice. Okay, on to the next one. We're gonna go to we'll go to the honesty circle next. I think I said personal next, but we'll just go to honesty circle section. So the next one is, if someone were to ask you about the honesty circle, how would you describe it in 3 words? I mean, I think it's part what I talked about. So that I say like all the time. So it's adulthood, faith, and mental health. Those are my 3 things, and how those things all wrap into one is kind of what I talk about in every episode. And it's always different topics that kind of connect to one or all of those things. Typically all. Those are my 3 words. Okay, the next one is, give me a behind the scenes of the honesty circle. You work hard, let the people know. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it for acknowledging my hard work. I very much appreciate that. And so give me behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, I mean, I'm working on so obviously I post an episode every Monday. So, recording. So let's start from the beginning. So how do I start an episode? Like, I think of a topic, which also connects to how do I prepare each episode. So we'll kind of connect those questions together. So typically, I don't know. I don't know how these topics will hop in my head. I genuinely think it's from the Lord himself, the Holy Spirit, just kind of places them on me. Sometimes I think about what I've gone through in the past month or week, things I've been kind of working on and with God. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. So things I've been working on in my quiet time with God, I think that's part of it. And I don't always go through those things to be able to share, because there's some things I don't share on the mic, but I do think that those are integral for me to be able to come up with different topics or things like that. So I have a list of topics a lot of time. I have a list that I wrote up a while, and as things come in my head, as I think on things that kind of are topics that young people are talking about, people who are growing in adulthood are talking about, people who are trying to grow in their faith journey, people who, different just things that they struggle with. I try to keep my eyes open to things that I hear from people around me, social media a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. And I utilize that as kind of just a running list. And then I go back to it and I look to kind of see what's speaking with me through that list. And I'm then sparks kind of come from there, pick the topic. And I work on it kind of throughout the week. So it's not I sit there and crank it out and type up all the notes and thoughts in my head. Typically I would say 2 to 3 times of me actually sitting there and working on just episode content of what points I want to hit, how can I elaborate on this point, what's different things I can go into, examples. I try to kind of be not too descriptive that it's a script, but enough description so that I can look at it when I look at my iPad and be okay, that's what I'm supposed to talk about. That's what I'm going to move into next. So that way I'm not just rambling, because I will ramble. I will talk. And to kind of keep myself organized is what I really use an outline for. So, that's kind of how I prepare each episode. But then behind the scenes, I'm preparing the episode, I then record the episode, I edit the episode, upload the episode, and I upload it on my hosting website and also on YouTube. While it's uploading, I'm working on social media content. So that's the short form clips, that's the C's 2 cents post. And so kind of that's also the thumbnail and the cover for Instagram. Yeah, those 4 things. So I'm kind of working on those. And then also, big part of this too is when I have guests, I'm trying to outreach with guests to see who wants to come on, working on those outlines, because typically those are farther in advance. And I want to be able to provide them with the list of questions I'm going to ask beforehand. So it's important that I'm ahead of the game on that one. So that's a bit of what I do too. A lot of research goes into it as well, how to market a podcast. I'm trying to, get some sponsorships, hopefully to have some ads. So those are just things that I do behind the scenes to work on the honesty circle. I would say it is majority of what I do after when I come home from work. I take Zeke out, feed him, feed myself. Sometimes it's work and then feed myself, but sometimes feed myself first. It depends. And I sit there, I literally will sit there and do work probably all night, but I've been trying to be consistent and like stopping at, I say 8:30 is what I say, but it's more like 9 o'clock. But 8:39, I try to stop so that way I'm able, I'm able to prep for the next day. So like shower, skincare, unwind, and decompress. But that's typically what the bulk of it is. A lot of it's also analytics. So being able to like look at the analytics, but also analyze it and communicate it to someone else if they were to ask about it. So that's a bit of what I do. And then planning for future episodes and like how I'm going to break down the schedule of each month. That's what I do behind the scenes for the Honesty Circle. That was a lot, but that's what I do. And I love it. So I wouldn't change it for the world. All right. Where was I at with the questions? Oh, have you received messages or feedback from listeners that have touched you? I have. I got one message last week, and every episode I like say a prayer to kind of go into it. And a part of my prayer always is that it comes across someone that needs to hear it. So not just people who listen consistently all the time, but someone who needs to hear whatever is shared. I always pray that like it comes across them. And it's like someone said that. And it really touched me because I think it's like God hearing my prayers, you know, prayers being answered, but also knowing that God has used me as a vessel, which I always ask for to like speak through me. I don't want just to be myself. Like I want you to get the glory. So while I do like the messages, I think at the end of the day, sometimes I appreciate like just God getting the glory in all of it. And so I think he utilizes those comments to keep me going and like know that what I'm doing is like there's some fruit coming from it, if that makes sense. So I do appreciate the comments and the feedback that I get from listeners, not just like my friends and my mom. I genuinely appreciate everyone who consistently shows up for me and supports me in any way, honestly, like whether it's a like, whether it's a comment, whatever it is, I appreciate it. And you know, with podcasts, like a big part of it is listeners and views and all those things. And not to get too focused on that, but I do appreciate when people kind of take the time to, you know, support. So, next question is dream guest of the Honesty Circle. I'm not going to say too much, but one of my dream guests did respond back. So I'm excited to get that scheduled. Another dream guest that I will probably, let's say some names. I'm trying to think of who I would just share. I would love to have Megan Ashley because I love her podcast. Like I love her down. I think she's so smart and like deep in her thinking. And I think that I'm kind of deep in my thinking. So I would love to have like a conversation about like faith and like our journey. Cause I know she grew up in church and like, I just feel like we have some similarities and I feel like it would be a fun conversation to have. So she would be definitely a dream guest. I would also love to have, I think, the Balanced Black Girl, her name is Les. I would love to have her too. Her podcast also inspired me to start, because I was definitely listening to her before I started my podcast, but she definitely inspired me to start. I think she inspired me a lot too, because she was doing it by herself. And I think like some podcasts that you see, people have like a co-host. And so it's not always just them, or they don't really do solo episodes. And you know, her having how she intermixes her solo episodes with guests. I love that. And just like her idea of like wellness and balance and all of that, I think it kind of just connects to what I also, you know, wellness and things along those lines. So I would love to have her too. So those are, I would say, two guests that I would like love to have on the Honesty Circle. You know, just keep us in your prayers. Hopefully they come to pass. I think that's it for this section. Oh, this last one. Have you ever wanted to quit the Honesty Circle? Well, technically I did. After our first go round in 2020, I definitely did quit, and it took me a lot to get back. But I feel like this go round, I really haven't felt like I wanted to quit. Like there's been nights, which it's been hard. I've been tired. Like after work and the things that I have to do to just like keep going to make sure that I'm doing all that I can for this to be successful. So for that, there's times where it's like gets difficult and hard, but I've enjoyed the hard because like it's been so rewarding at the same time. I haven't wanted to be like, no, I'm done. This is so hard that I can't do it anymore. So right as of now, like I haven't had any quitting thoughts of the Honest Circle, although I, like I said, did quit in the past. Okay. Now let's go to personal. Okay. First one is, have you noticed consistency with content translate into other aspects of your life? 100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000%, yes. Oh my gosh. Like, I think one thing that I've been reminding myself is if I can be consistent in this, what else can I be consistent in? And, I think sometimes it can be hard because I think with content and like episodes and also with me trying to grow my also personal brand through TikTok, that have some form of accountability because it's like front facing. So it's like other people are watching it. But the things that are like not seen that are like consistency, I think that is what I still kind of struggle with because I think it's always easy to show up for other people. And sometimes it's hard to show up for yourself. And so like, I feel like when I'm doing it for other people, episodes, content, all the things, like it's going out for other people. And so it's like, I can't let people down. Right. But when it comes to me, it's like, it's hard, but then at the same time, I have to tell myself like, I can't let myself down. And that has been like driving my consistency in other aspects, like with working out, with, like my skincare routine with night and day, with so many things. I'm trying to think of what else, like just being organized in general. Like I just can't like go with the flow as much anymore either because I have to make sure I incorporate things in looking ahead. So definitely. Next one is, what does success mean to you? I think success, I don't know. I don't think I don't fully have like a definition of what success means or like fully looks like for me. I know that one thing I've always wanted as like a young kid is like to be married and with a family and like just to be like the best mom ever. Like I've kind of always wanted to have kids. I know like right now, and don't hear that and think that I'm going to be having kids anytime soon because I need to be married first. But I definitely think having kids would make me feel some form of successful, I would say, because I think like you're then just not doing things for yourself anymore and you're doing it for someone else that is like that you created. And I think that's kind of beautiful. So I don't know. I think it's like what success looked like with me, was just like having a happy, healthy family, that is like supportive and loving and like, I don't know. I just like imagine like me having a nice house, Zeke having a little sister or brother. They're running out in the backyard. I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, reading my book, like and looking out the yard and it's sunny. I'm just like, wow. Young Sierra would be so proud of me. And I think that's kind of where it is, where it's like when I look back, how my younger version would be so proud. I think that's also success. Like right now, little baby Sierra would be like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing, girl? Get off the screen. But yeah, I know that younger Sierra is proud of what I'm doing. And so I think success just like is ever changing. And it's also what you define it and what I define it as is just happiness in some form of fashion, I guess. I don't know. That wasn't really an answer, but it was like a long-winded thing. But y'all know I'm long-winded. All right, let's see. What people are the biggest center of influence and who do you look up to? You already know I look up to Mrs. Sienna Davis herself. That is my girl. I look up to her a lot because we're very similar. And I think our similarities help me see myself and how I can like do it too. Like she had 3 kids. Like, not that I want to have 3 kids, but like she did it. I can do it. Like even her, like working her PhD, like I haven't got my master's yet, but like seeing her work full time while also chasing a degree, it reminds me like I can also do it because my Miss Girl is doing it. I call her Miss Girl, but my girl is doing it. So that's my girl. And that's my big influence. I look up to her. Describe the evolution of your faith and how has it improved over time and what have you learned? Such a great question. So the evolution of my faith, grew up in church, went to church all the time, get to college, was outside, slightly halfway into my faith. I actually went back and looked at some old journals this week, and I realized that like while I say I was outside, God was working because I was still like in my journal writing prayers to God about like different things and situations and ways of thinking and ways of acting, ways of being that like weren't in alignment to what I wanted or what I knew that he wanted from me. And so I think it was like a constant, like I know better and doing better and knowing better and doing better. And like, as I was learning more about him and reading his word more, I'm learning more about who he is. And not just in a way of like going to church way, but in a way where it's like personal connection way. And I've talked about it before. I think not being able to go to church because I was a manager and we had games on Sundays forced me to like look at myself in the mirror. It's like, okay, why do you believe in God and how do you want to show up in your faith? And that's when I just kind of started to take the lead in that relationship. And I just didn't let church be what it was, the only avenue for it. And what have I learned? I think as I grow, I just learn how truly amazing God is and how amazing God has been for me. I think like sometimes when you see it in the Bible, you see how God's a healer, you see how God's a provider, you see how he is a miracle worker, you see all these things of how he is in the Bible. But when you look at your own life and you noticed how God has continuously shown up for you with like whatever it might be, that I think that is what it is for me because it makes it so much more personal. But I also think too that I wouldn't be able to see it in my own life if I didn't see it in the Bible first. So I think that's why it's nice to like learn it because I think the Bible is just showing me God's character. And as I learn more about God's character, I'm seeing his character unfold in real time in my own life. So that's kind of that. How do you distinguish God's voice from your own thoughts? Boy, oh boy. Because as someone who has ADHD, them thoughts be going crazy. But I've noticed one thing that has been key for me, and it's the I versus you. Okay. And I'm going to explain that. So if it's my own thoughts, I'm like, I think I should do this or I blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times when it's God, it's a you thought. And I'm like, what? But my thoughts don't go in you because I wouldn't do that. Like if I'm ever going to say you in the sense of myself, I'm likely talking out loud. It's like, Sierra, why would you do that? But that's me talking it out loud. When I'm sitting by myself in my thoughts, I'm saying I, and something comes up and it says, you should do blah, blah, you blah, blah. Like anything you, that's a lot of times how I know it's God. But I think a big part of it too is like being in the words. That way you're able to know what truth is. Because I think when you know truth, you hear the lies that your own head will tell you. And so that is also a crucial part because you will lie to yourself. And we all know that we've done it before. So that's how I distinguish it. What challenges have you faced or funny moments when recording? I don't know if y'all know, but a few episodes back, I can't remember which one, I didn't record. So how it works is I have this that's connected to something that records on a SD card. And my phone is also recording for camera and video. So although the sound is picking up on my camera, I don't like to utilize that because the mic has better sound. And I forgot to record, and I realized that I wasn't recording mid episode. And so I had to try to pull myself together and be okay and finish the episode. And I ended up obviously editing that out and whatnot. But that's a funny moment, and that was a challenge, but I was pissed. But I also was like, girl, it's okay. So what? Yeah. What's the best part of your daily schedule? My favorite part is going outside with Zeke. I love to take him outside, get a little tennis ball, throwing it outside. Especially when it's sunny, it just makes me feel so happy and soaking in the sun. My dog is running, he's happy. And yeah, love you, Zeke. He's over here asleep, but whatever. That's my favorite part of the day. Next one is, if you had been given a chance to go back to your best memory, what would it be? Phew. I don't know what it would be. I know what it would be. Senior year of college, the week of graduation. Was it the week of graduation? I think it was the week before. So one of my friends from Texas, he left after one of my other friends' birthday in May. And that week from that month of May was elite. We had something every single day. And it was just, we had so much fun together for the last time, as a large group. And I just cherish those moments so much. I love my friends. I think I say that memory as right now is the best memory because I was reminiscent on my friends. I missed them so much, and I was missing them this week. So that's why I would say that. It probably could change depending on the day that you asked me or what I'm feeling. But today, it is going back to graduation week, May 2021, with my besties. Shout out to them if they listen. So, yeah. So there's a few more, but I want to get to the fun facts about me, and we'll kind of skip to the last few. If I didn't miss your question, I'm sorry. But bucket list travel destination. I want to go to Greece. I want to travel more outside the country. I think I've been doing good with inside the country, inside the States, but I would love to go to Greece. I went to Aruba. I would love to go back to Aruba. Aruba was that, okay, running back to best memory. That's also a core memory of that I would like to go back to. It was my senior year. So kind of same concept of missing my friends. But anyways, I'd love to go back to Aruba. I would love to go to Jamaica. There's so many places I could go. I could go on and on, but I just want to travel outside the country and just learn more about other cultures. Favorite feel-good movie. If you know me, you already know what I'm going to say. I have two. Number one, say it with me. Stump the Yard. Stump the Yard. That is my favorite comfort movie. That is my movie. That is what is going to make me feel good every single day. I will watch it every single day for my whole life. When I was in my depressive episode, I watched it as much as I could. I did. So that's number one. Number two is Beyond the Lights. I love that movie. Okay, number three, hot take is Brown Sugar. So the thing about those is you don't know when they're going to be on a streaming service. So it depends on what is on the streaming service to know what I'm going to watch. But those are my three feel good. I know they asked for one, but those are my three. Number one being Stump the Yard. Number two being Beyond the Lights. Number three being Brown Sugar. Thank you. What does my perfect morning consist of? My perfect morning consists of waking up, taking Zeke out, coming back in, making a nice breakfast, eating breakfast while probably catching up on Real Housewives or Vanderpump. And then after I do that, getting cute, going out. It's summertime. That's a key part of it. Not summer, but spring. It's warm outside. I go outside and I just go explore outside, whether that's going downtown, whether that's a like a pop-up shop, whether that's anything along those lines in the sun, count me in. That's what I want to do. That's what I like. Next one. If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be? Zeke. That's it. That's all I want. But I'm just saying. Actual animal. I always wanted to have a tiger. I loved tigers, and I liked specifically white tigers. I had a stuffed animal. Her name was Nala. But then I got Nala from Lion King, so I didn't want to call her Nala anymore. But she was my original Nala. And yeah, that's my girl. So definitely a white tiger. What is your go-to karaoke song? Shout out to the person that sings this with me. But it's When I See You. That's just what the song is going to be. That's When I See You. Like, that's the perfect one. Everyone knows it. The crowd is going to get involved. So it's that one. Or also, hot take, Carrie Underwood Before He Cheats. That is a key banger as well. You got to know the crowd, though, because they might not know it. But good one as well. All right, last two questions. If you could invent a holiday, what would it be, and how would people celebrate it? My birthday. I just wish everybody would celebrate my birthday. I'm just like, no, but low key. I actually think, I wish there was like a day of celebration that was about like friends, I would say. And I would want people to, all friends from whatever, come together to celebrate that day. So, because I think a lot of holidays are like family oriented, and like we do try to do Friendsgiving, but I think that's sometimes hard because if you travel with your family for Thanksgiving, then depending on what it is, it's hard to kind of schedule that in the time during all the other holidays. So this would be an event that's in the like summer/spring. This would be that holiday, and I don't know what I would call it, but like it would be like your friends meet at a like destination, or y'all all go to one city. But it's like a big friend group link up, and all friend groups link up. Like not just friend groups, but like you and your best friend, like anybody that are friends, like they just link up and have a great time. And it's an excused national holiday, so you don't have to take off for work. So that's what I would love. Another one, last question. What's the weirdest food combo that you have tasted that was surprisingly good? Listen, I don't really do weird food combos, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't really like to mix food together as is. I think that everything should be eaten individually besides certain things. So I don't really know an answer to that one. But yeah. Well, that's it. This is a longer episode than most episodes, but I just wanted to get as many questions in as we could. C's 2 cents is to tell someone that you love them this week, okay? Because I think that we take it for granted, people in our life, and I want you to hold on to your friends. Hold on to the memories. Hold on to, the love that you have for them, and reach out to them. I know I say that all the time, but don't just reach out to them. I want you to reach out to a friend specifically and let them know that you love them. That's it. And when you do it, let me know. But y'all can take my advice or not. That is just my 2 cents. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of the Honesty Circle. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Also, guys, we are so close. We said the road to 300. We are almost at 200 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm so excited. So please make sure you're sharing with your friends, family, anybody and everybody. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at The Honesty Circle with an _ at the end to stay updated on Circle News. Thanks again for listening, and go conquer your week. Bye, guys.